Thank you, President Peskin. And it will be unsurprising to my colleagues and probably folks in the audience that I take a different view. To reassure the folks in the audience, I believe that I will be losing today. And I want to thank and acknowledge city staff who described this as a difficult issue. And I think it's a difficult issue, especially for those folks who are in these departments who I think really do care about people and want to make lives better and yet have to respond to the demands of our public. I don't usually like arguing with public commenters. I don't think it's a good practice, but one person did refer to San Francisco's purposeful disinvestment in homeless infrastructure. And it is a phrase that hit me as being so completely divorced from the reality of the time I've been on the Board of Supervisors and the time before. We have spent billions and billions of dollars in just the last 6.5 years investing in solutions to homelessness, in getting tens of thousands of folks off of the streets, not just into shelter, but into permanent housing. We have experimented with all manner of sometimes successful and sometimes unsuccessful interventions, whether they be safe parking sites or tiny homes or safe camping, safe tent sites or hotel rooms. And we've done it at enormous cost, not just to the federal government and the state government, but to our general fund. It's something I am proud of. It's something that I think San Franciscans should be proud of. And it's something that I'm proud that some of the folks out in the audience have played a role in actually rolling out and trying to end homelessness for those folks. But there's a question about, and there is no dispute about whether, I think up here, about whether San Francisco should be making those investments. What there is a dispute about is what we should do about managing the unsheltered homelessness that remains. And although every single person who spoke in this room today takes a not unreasonable position, I think, which is that we should all be in this together, that if we don't have shelter for folks, we should allow folks to find shelter in our midst where they can, on the street if they must, on sidewalks if they must, in public plazas and parks if they must. It is not an insane position. It is a humane position. It is not the position of the majority of San Franciscans or anything close. And I, as an elected representative in a democracy, believe that I need to be responsive to the reasonable demands of my constituents, that they be able to use their public spaces, that they not be privatized in a completely unregulated way, turned over to uses that are damaging and destructive, not always, but sometimes, often, and cause significant challenges, not for the most affluent communities in San Francisco, because they don't have encampments in their midst. They don't have RVs. It's rather the lower income, the more working class, the Tenderloin, the neighborhoods that actually have folks with the greatest needs that have to deal with unsheltered homelessness in their midst. And so I think it is not unreasonable for the public to say that they want our departments to address this challenge, to not allow persistent camping in our public spaces. And if that's going to be the expectation and demand of the public, we need to give our departments the tools they need to try to do that, even in the, to my mind, compassionate way that has been described by MTA and HSH staff. This is not going to mean the mass displacement of RVs, but these are some tools to be sparingly used as necessary when nothing else is working. I take staff at their word that that's how they see it. I think they have constrained themselves quite a bit in the policies that they've presented to us. I think our public might want those policies to be less constraining and to see a more aggressive response. But I do support what the MTA board did here, and I will be voting against the motion that was just made.